So David, you've obviously achieved all there is to achieve in cycling at a younger age, I suppose. Is there a point that you've reached now where you want to still be able to do the same things on the bike, but perhaps your health in age is sort of deteriorated and preventing you doing that?
Well, it is exactly that. My body's taken a lot of hammering. I've had heart surgery, I've had major back surgery. I can't keep up with my mates anymore. I've had to stop racing. And I want to carry on cycling, but I'm struggling with it.
Yeah, yeah. So is there a stigma, do you think, that's attached to riding an e-bike, and sort of maybe people think that they're coming down a level in terms of effort? Is that something that's out there, do you think?
There is. There's a lot of trolls out there that will say, why not get a motorbike? But it doesn't work like that. It's pedal assisted. You know, as soon as you start struggling, the pedal sensor's realising that you're having to dig in.
Yeah.
And it assists you. And it's like somebody giving you a gentle push.
Yeah.
For those people that have got health problems or struggling, or there's a cyclist in the family and the wife wants to come out, it's ideal to keep everyone together and enjoy their cycling.
Yeah. And you're sort of taking it to the extreme now, and you're sort of pushing the boundaries on what people at your age, your health level can expect to do. You're taking on a massive challenge with the assist of an e-bike. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about that?
Well, you only use the assistance. It's a bit like if you're riding a bike generally and you start to struggle and somebody gives you a little push, it can make all the difference. As you get tired or your injury kicks in, you've got 5 different settings that you can actually boost a little bit more power to the pedals. So you're not just being pushed along by the motor, you're doing a little bit of cycling and a little bit of assistance.
Yeah. So what's actually possible with an e-bike? Is it just something that, Sunday riders can take on, and it's just something to just tickle around on the weekend, or can you take it a little bit further?
You can take it further. I mean, I'm doing Land's End John O'Groats in July. And I'll be running training camps in Mallorca, and I'll be able to go out with the faster groups that I've not been able to keep up with in the past. It's going to make a life changer for me, especially with my ego. Getting dropped and going slow isn't what I do, and I now can be able to keep up.
So Land's End to John O'Groats, what is the total distance, and how much of that do you think you'll be relying on the assistance of an e-bike for? Well,
the distance we're going is 995 miles. We can extend it to 1,000 to round the figure up, and it depends on the route. The biggest issues we've got is the start and the finish. We'll be climbing out of Cornwall, very hilly, quite steep climbs. We've got some climbs on the way, but generally not too bad. But once we hit the Highlands and go into the mountains and the bigger hills of Scotland, that's where I'm gonna struggle. This is where the bike will come in useful for me to keep up with the group that I'm riding with.
So there's going to be a group going, mixed abilities, mixed ages?
The group are ex-bike riders, racing cyclists I used to race against. We go back a long way. So there will be different levels of fitness. One of the guys that's riding with us, Jerry, he won a stage of the Tour of Britain. So it gives you a sort of standard of riders I'm with. However, this is 40 odd years later. We're all got a lot older. And I go back to saying again, that is really going to help me keep up.
Yeah, yeah. So when people say you get an assistance from an e-bike, can you just tell us what sort of assistance it is and why it's different from the school of thought that says it's a motorbike?
Yeah. Well, a motorbike has a throttle and it keeps going and you just increase. With an e-bike, it has a sensor in through the pedals that if you're just riding, the motor's not doing a lot, if anything. But as soon as you start pushing, depending on the setting that you're on, the motor kicks in. So if you're going up a hill that's a drag, you will not need a lot of assistance. You'll probably be on the green setting. But from then on afterwards, it's just a case of managing what sort of assistance you want. Generally, on a terrain that's flat and undulating, there probably won't be a lot of assistance. So I can ride that bike as a normal bike.
Okay. So will you be taking just this bike on the trip, or is there going to be a swap bike?
There's going to be a swap bike because I'm dead keen to ride as well as under my own power. So there'll be some stages with a really good tailwind, pretty flat, and I won't use this bike in particular because that's really for when I'm struggling more or when I'm really tired. So I'll be using one of Dolan's road bikes.
Oh, that's great. So in terms of, we talked there a little bit about assistance. Is there just, you say, a green setting that'll sort of give you an assistance when the terrain's sort of fighting back against you? Is there something that'll give you something in those 20% climbs that you're going to need?
I think what you've got to understand firstly, that the motor doesn't actually kick in until you start having to push. It's got a maximum of 250 watts, for instance. And if I'm sitting well below that and I'm pushing, the motor will recognise it and start to assist me. And it's almost like telling them I need a push because the sensors are picking that up anyway. If I'm just riding along happily, it won't do anything. It'll just sit there waiting for me to push down harder.
Yeah. So what's the goal? What's the target with the challenge? Do you aim to have it completed in a certain amount of days? Is it just a case of getting it done?
Well, it is a case of being realistic. You know, we're all getting on a bit. We've all got injuries that we can talk about. So we've planned it over 7-8 days of riding. We're averaging about 95 to 100 mile a day, stopping over and then pressing on the next day. The ultimate aim is to finish and raise money for prostate cancer.
Right, so there's charity involved in this as well? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Prostate cancer, is there a target in terms of how much you want?
I've got a crowdfunding page that we've set up on Just Giving, and we've put a target of £2,000, and if we can hit above that, and hopefully we will, it'll all go over to prostate cancer. So
tell us a little bit about the bike. Is it a case of you're set out and you've got enough battery to keep you going, or will there be points that you'll need to charge the battery and get assistance from other sources?
Well, it all depends on the setting. You know, the higher the setting, the more it's going to burn up the battery use. But for moderate use, you've got a range of approximately 50 miles, and it's got an assisted battery on here that's concealed quite well. That gives you an additional 40 miles. So it's a good 90-mile range, depending on how you use the settings.
Yeah. Does the additional weight of an e-bike, does that sort of, is it a school of thought that sort of counteracts the assistance that you get?
Not at all.
No.
I mean, you really wouldn't know you're riding a bike that's, it feels the same as my road bike. You know, it acts and behaves the same, the geometry is the same. It's just perfect.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that sort of look at the e-bike or where the e-bikes come from, where it just assists those Sunday riders who want a little tootle around, you know, their old route. Can you take a bike like this to, for example, the Alps or something like that, and still be able to do what you've done before?
Definitely. There's no reason why you can't. I mean, obviously you've got to do a bit of homework to, you know, if you're doing a lot of climbing before you get to the mountain, because you've got the foothills and all that to consider. But if you planned your ride and you know you're going to get 4 or 5 hours of riding, I'm sure that would more than cope.
So this bike, essentially, it's like a return of the youth, really.
Mate, it's going to change sight. It's a game changer for everybody. I'm not talking just personally. I've got friends of mine that active racing cyclists whose wives have bought one because they've been a bike widow, sat at home, and now they're able to go out with their husband. Perfect.
So where can we track you, John? Where can we see all this taking place? Have you got social media?
Yeah, we're going to be on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Do a blog. You know, whatever we can do. We want to also get, you know, local and public awareness of all our stages, so we can get a meet and greet as we turn up or arrive.
And when do you start out on this journey?
On the 8th of July at Land's End. We all assemble on the 7th of July, have our last beer, and then off we go.
And how many days do you think it's going to take you to get there?
It'll take us 8 days.
We wish you the best of luck, and we look forward to tracking the progress.
Thank you very much.